So after self-command, we go through our saboteurs and our sage powers. And in the positive intelligence program, there are 10 saboteurs. And the most important of those saboteurs is the judge.
Woohoo!
And the judge is always there every time you're hijacked. And what I'll say for hijacking is anytime you're triggered at all, anytime you're feeling any negative emotion or any kind of a reaction, you have a little internal judge. And that judge is either judging yourself, it's judging others, or it's judging the situation. And so a really important part of positive intelligence work is recognizing your judge and maybe disempowering your judge a little bit. I don't know if that's the best way to say it, but Kim, share a little bit about what your experience with the judge has been.
Well, I knew I had one because I've been extremely critical of myself my whole life. But what I got out of the program was the idea that it's not just of myself, it's the judgment of others and the judgment of circumstances. And so for me, one of the big epiphanies was, oh my gosh, I'll be happy when, and I got to get these things done, right? So my judge had decided these are the things that needed to happen and realizing, we can be happy now. I just got to get the judge out of the way. So realizing how important it was to listen to that voice and be able to choose again was incredible. That was huge for me to realize, oh no, it's not I'm going to be happy when. It's now. I can be happy now.
Yeah, and this may be doing it in reverse, but I'll say that my biggest and last epiphany in the mastery program was that I actually had an I'll be happy when. Because so one of the things you use to battle the judge is the sage perspective, which is in every situation there's a gift for an opportunity. And I had been doing this for years, finding an opportunity or a gift in any bad circumstance. So, I mean, that was an amazing epiphany when I did it, and it really changed my life. I've been mostly positive and optimistic, even when challenging circumstances have been up. But at the very end of our program, Shirzad was talking about this, I'll be happy when. And he said, you know what? You don't even have to transform to be happy. And I went, oh, my whole life has been about personal transformation. And I've always thought I had to transform and get to this ideal Buddha version of myself. Before, I don't know that I thought it was before being happy, but I think I thought I had to get there before I was done. And it was such an epiphany. It was at the very end of the program. So I'd done a lot of work up to there, but it tossed me on my head and helped me settle into today, into the present. And it's been a dramatic difference in just me reshuffling my whole way of thinking about the world, that today is more important than anything else. It's more important than anything going on in the future, anything that's happened in the past. I didn't even realize that was judge until you brought that up. But yes, it is judge of circumstance.
I noticed with my clients, having gone through the program, especially that 6-month one where it went so much deeper for myself, that now when I'm with clients doing sessions, it's so much easier for me to hear when their judge is in the room, by the way they say things. And it used to be I'd hear it kind of, but now, I mean, I feel it as soon as it comes in the room, I can feel it. And I'm finding it's really powerful to be able to help them by calling it out. I ask permission first. Is it okay? Because some of them haven't been through the program before. But to be able to start challenging that false belief, really, I mean, it's a lie. It's the lie of the judge, that, well, you got to do this and you got to do that, and it's got to be right or it's wrong. And it's like, what if that's not true? So by being able to feel it so much in my body, I can help them notice it too. And I'm noticing that our sessions, when we check that judge at the door, we can go in other places, but sometimes it takes a little bit, right? Sometimes the whole session ends up being, oh, there it is again. Oh, there we go again. It's persistent. It's never going to go away, but it gets quieter. I'm noticing the judge is getting quieter for me.
Now, have you ever had clients start working on their judge and suddenly become aware of that voice and actually get bombed? So in a recent program that I had 2 or 3 of them. So I had a group of 8 going through. I
Mhm.
had 2 or 3 of them go, oh my gosh, I'm so mean to myself. That's
Yeah.
so depressing. So now they're judging their judge, which of course I pointed out.
Mhm.
But have you ever had that happen?
Absolutely. You know, it's funny. It's like that red sports car, right? That you see going down
Mhm.
the highway, and now you see all the red sports cars. And it seems like the judge gets so much louder sometimes for my clients and myself when we start looking at it. And so I always assure my clients this is the hardest part of the work we're going to do. It's the most uncomfortable when we start to shine that light on the judge because, oh, it hurts. It hurts so much. It definitely, it can be very debilitating. And I've noticed some of my clients have a hard time even when we go through that part of the program because our judges can be so mean and so hurtful. So it's helpful to learn we can do it differently. You know, we don't have to have that judge taking front center stage all the time. We have other ways of doing things.
Yeah, and I think sometimes the judge is the hardest to let go of because, they
Hmm.
say I have such high standards of myself, but I had my big judge when I started the program, very in the beginning, was judge of self,
Hmm.
constant critical voice. Of course, just like everybody else, my voice got louder, and I
Hmm.
began to hear it. But that's what I worked on the hardest. So I worked on the sage empathy power to kind of
Hmm.
really develop a kind voice in my head that
Hmm.
almost reparented myself, but just gave myself lots of kindness, lots of reassurance, lots of compassion. And I noticed a lot of movement just in that first 6-week boot camp for
Hmm.
me, just being kinder to myself. Um, it's
Hmm.
interesting when that judge goes away,
Hmm.
or at least is more absent, right? I'm
Yeah.
able to sit and listen to people who normally would annoy me. And I just listen to them. And in my mind, I'm going, okay, that's their judge.
Hmm.
And they're hijacked right now. And
Hmm.
I'm not feeling any kind of trigger or annoyance at all. It's just, and I can say, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a judge in there, right?
Hmm.
And
I'm
how
hearing
valuable.
more spaciousness, more permission, more acceptance of other people and circumstances. That's what I'm noticing. And I think for my clients too, I feel like I watch them just go, ah, right? The judge is
Mm-hmm.
there. And when we call it out and we kind of shift gears, I can feel that, ah, the judge gets in there and gets so tight. It gets so tight and angry and feisty and scary and all of that, it seems like. I know.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a tip for those of you listening to this, self-command is sort of the foundational skill.
Hmm.
But the judge work, I would say, and this is why the judge work sort of comes right after self-command, that's the most intense and important part of the program because it's baseline. There's 9
Hmm.
accomplice saboteurs that help us judge out. And I often have clients sort of get caught up in, well, what saboteur is that? I'm feeling bad. I know I'm feeling bad. What saboteur is that? And I'll always say, doesn't matter because it's always the
Hmm.
judge. It's
Yeah.
always the judge. The accomplices kind of come in and give you your own unique flavor of how you're going to deal with whatever quote unquote bad thing is going on. But your judge is
Hmm.
the one that's saying this is bad.
I love what you said about your own flavor. It reminds me of like coming and looking at a closet of which coat do I put on? Which color is my
Mm-hmm.
coat going to be today? You know, judge
Mm-hmm.
walks in, that is at the core of it. And I think I'm going to be purple today. I'm going to put the purple
Mm-hmm.
one on and go forward. So,
Yep. How am I going to deal with this bad thing? Absolutely. What
yeah.
last thoughts on judge do you have?
Oh, just how important it is to really take the time to look at that sort of thing. And I feel like that's one of the gifts of the mental fitness program is it's helping us grow our awareness. And with awareness, we can make the changes that we need to make. And it's so powerful to not have to wait to be happy until something else happens.
Yeah, I love that. And I guess what I would say is the more and more that I work with clients, what I realize is that their external world is a reflection of their internal world, and their
Mm-hmm.
internal world is defined by their inner relationship with themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the judge is a big part of that. So if you have a lot
Yes.
of negative self talk, that's your relationship with yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
you're being mean to yourself, and the world is being mean to you in that same way.
Mhm.
And so, if you're willing to do personal growth work, if you can work on your inner judge and replace that with a kinder relationship with yourself, you're going to see the whole world change parallel to that so that the world becomes kinder to you.
I love that. That mirroring that they talk about. That's such a beautiful way to say that. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So that's the judge.